WBRZ just dropped a report claiming Ben 10 was shot again in Baton Rouge, and this happened barely over a month after that Houston incident. According to the report, Ben 10, whose real name is Ben Anthony Fields, was identified as one of 3 victims injured during a shooting on Wells Street. Sources allegedly told the outlet that Fields and the other injured people were rushed to the hospital in a private vehicle immediately after the gunfire broke out. Now hold up, this comes right after that earlier Houston situation in April, where Ben 10 reportedly ended up in critical condition following another shooting at a restaurant. Reports from that incident claimed somebody attempted to rob a man for his chains before shots suddenly started ringing out inside the building. And what makes the situation even crazier is the fact that around 20 to 30 people were reportedly inside the restaurant when everything unfolded, with multiple people getting hit during the chaos. Now that news has surfaced confirming Ben 10 was reportedly shot again just days ago, people around Baton Rouge have been throwing around details online about his injuries. A lot of people in the city are claiming he was allegedly hit in the collarbone and leg, although those reports still haven't been fully confirmed publicly. There's also talk that some of the people inside the vehicle during the shooting were connected to him personally and may have been family members. Girl, fans started paying even closer attention after Ben 10's girlfriend reportedly posted a photo of herself, her son, and Ben 10 together while playing Forever in the background. Now, social media is full of people asking the same question over and over again. How does Ben 10 keep ending up in these dangerous situations? And honestly, part of the reason people keep connecting him to controversy is that Ben 10 himself previously spoke about being heavily involved and always active on the front lines. At one point, he even described himself as the captain of the Gravediggers, making it clear he saw himself as somebody deeply involved in street conflicts. He also made it seem like when serious situations happen, he's often willing to move alone and handle business personally without depending on a big group around him. You won't believe this, all of those old statements are now being brought back up online as fans try piecing together why these situations keep following him everywhere he goes.
So, I said I'm the only nigga on first ring, and I'm team captain. I'm out by myself. I got third and fourth string, but I'm saying I'm team captain out here with no first string players. You know I gotta be pushing the field.
Rick Dunk's brother is a little Dunk. Ben 10 was shot, according to Daddy, as well. However, he has some startling news. He was claimed that it wasn't by OP. Technically, it was by his own people, so rumors on the street that 10 partners are attempting to take him out. However, I would like to know why.
Hey, take that down, bro. Herman Big B wasn't there.
Nah, I ain't put them in that post.
Huh?
I ain't put them in that post.
Okay, but Ted did get shot. But
Street Juice TV.
You know, I was in the hood when that shit happened.
Hell yeah, but hell yeah, they already had let that shit know. Let them boy, you know what I'm saying? They already had cleared that shit up. I already made a post about that shit. But goddamn, yeah, the post is already up. I ain't mentioned Herm or Big B in that shit.
Man, the shit's so crazy. The shit's so crazy. Man, if you really know, I can't bring it out. But if you really know what really happened, man, I can't bring it out right now, though. But it's crazy and it's funny. It's funny in the sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, it's crazy. It wasn't from no enemies.
Now to provide you with an All-Star update, today Junior CNS revealed the information on All-Star Junior's Instagram account, moved to Houston.
I think All-Star JR people be mad. It's breaking news, man. All-Star JR just touched down in Houston today, man. But he had court. Well, he did have court. Look, 4/17/2026, order granted motion to seal as to Jeremy Christopher Ford, signed by magistrate judge. Then 4/22/2026, arrested Jeremy Christopher Ford in Eastern District of Michigan, Southern Division. Then we go to 4/22/26, case unsealed as to Jeremy Ford. So they unsealed it. Then 4/30/2026, documents received from Eastern District of Michigan, Detroit, as to Jeremy Christopher Ford. Then you go right here, 4/30/2026, set reset hearings as to Jeremy Ford. Initial appearance set for 5/14/2026 at 10 a.m. in courtroom 701 before Magistrate Judge Christina A. Bryant. Then it updated. Then it says right here, 5/13/2026 said, reset hearing as to Jeremy Christopher Ford. Initial appearance set for 5/18/2026 at 10 a.m. in courtroom 701 before Magistrate Judge Christina A. Bryan. Notified by USMS that defendant will not arrive on time.
Now, you all recall when I warned that All-Star Jr. might be hit. Any additional fees I'm referring to, later on in the case, there was an attempted murder. You all said nope, since he was the victim as well as this and that. And I informed the feds continue to emphasize that. Documentation that follows the initial shooting, All-Star Jr. returned in the restaurant and began filming at the folks once more, strolled over to Ben 10. Ben 10 was lying on the ground when fired Ben 10 once more and proceeded to remove the trigger once more, but there were bullets left. I told you that's not the case. Extended self-defense. That was an attempt murder. Additionally, my Detroit attorney talked on it. The same thing was mentioned by her.
Well, he's in Houston. He's minding his own business. He's eating dinner. Somebody approaches him to rob him of his chain. A weapon falls out, and All-Star JR grabs that weapon to defend himself. When you see that, does it make the case easier for All-Star JR? Because
yeah, I mean, a guy who's sitting at a place minding his own business, and then someone comes up to essentially attempt a felonious act on him, right? Yeah, you have the right to defend yourself. You have the right to defend yourself. It starts at a good spot. It starts at a good spot for self-defense because he's sitting there minding his business. He has no interaction with these people. They come and essentially they're the aggressors of the situation. Every single second of whatever's occurring in that frame is going to literally be a second by second dissection that a defense attorney is going to have to do, like literally play, pause, play, pause, play, pause, play, pause, to be able to create that story of what is exactly happening in order to figure out whether or not that continuum of self-defense is going to win throughout until the end.
like, when is the moment for a prosecutor to say, like, okay, this person is no longer a threat to you. You don't need to keep firing at them?
So generally, prosecutors look at the end of a threat to be the point of retreat. If the person is not continuing to aggress upon you and they have retreated in any way, shape, or form, if that retreat is just them backing up like this, if that retreat is them turning around and leaving, if that retreat is them even attempting to maybe verbalize something with you and say, hey, all right, like whatever. Prosecutors are always going to come at it in that angle, right? They're going to say, look at this frame, look at this second, look at this thing that happened. His hands were up, his back was turned. He was attempting to have a conversation with this individual. That is the beginning of retreat. That is the beginning of him attempting to retreat from the situation. He's no longer the aggressor. They're going to count that second or that millisecond or that like fractional amount of time as being the start period of when self-defense ends for this person.
At this point, she went into further detail and described how currently, but that doesn't apply to All-Star Jr., since her statement is right in the middle of it. What All-Star Jr. did was very different. He departed and returned.
But again, as a defense attorney, what we have to look at is it's perceived by the individual claiming self-defense, right? So in the heat of that moment, and while all of these things are occurring, this person may not recognize someone putting their hands up. If you're getting robbed by someone and that person just ends up putting their hands up because you got the better end of the stick in that very second, your brain is probably not registering that is a retreat by them, right? Like you're in that moment, your adrenaline is pumping still. So your brain isn't registering things as you would if you were calm, if you were logical, if this was not like a heated situation. So that's where the argument really is going to come in my opinion, in court, is the prosecutor attempting to make that determination of where that retreat begins, and the defense attorney indicating that, no, that wasn't the retreat period because there was still like a physiological occurrence that was happening to the person who was under that pressure and under that stress in that time.
Tell me what you think in the comments. Consider. Additionally, if you find the information enjoyable, make sure you subscribe, like, and comment. Activate all post notifications.